Everybody has their own path, but at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to chase self-fulfillment. So do what matters to you, to your core values, and do that thing very, very good. And don't let anybody stop you from being the best at that thing. And don't lie to yourself. Don't say that I'm good enough, because you're never good enough. You're never right, and you're always wrong, and you are never finally there. So the day that you're like, I'm the shit, I'm the best, that's the day that you've creatively died.
So in this week's video, I got Life of Bri, B Chisel.
Ryan Litzel.
And he's worked with people like Linda D, Trang Man, Peter Chow. So I got him on, so why don't you just tell us about you?
Well, long story short, my name is Brian. You might know me as Life of Bri. I've done such series as The Ultra Cheap Asian Boys, and you may have seen some of my vlogs or some of my comedy skits. I am currently a freelance cinematographer working here in Vancouver, BC, and I'm self-taught. I went to university for sociology. I didn't actually go to film school because there's the internet. You can learn everything on the internet. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun just experimenting with YouTube and also growing myself as a filmmaker.
So the thing about my channel, a lot you might not know, but like Broke the Habit comes from me growing super traditional and like coming from a poor kind of immigrant background. So it's like I always grew up with that be the doctor, be the whatever, you know,
yeah, okay.
Be the whatever. I'm dropping Vietnamese accents like no tomorrow. It's like Tourette's. But then it's like being able to just be who you are, like that conflict of like I know who I am, but like the pressure of like how like your mom or dad wants you to be like a doctor and stuff. Like you love them, so it's always that like that conflict where you hit heads.
Right.
So talking from a standpoint like of a creative, like did you face some kind of like adversity, whether your so-called friends around you in high school like saw you like different, like how were you like growing up?
Actually, for me, I was always very different in the way that I thought about things. Like I am always a creative at heart. All my life I've been doing music, and that was kind of my big thing until university. And once I got there, I discovered filmmaking or making videos.
That's so weird because like my thing before film was music.
It was music too?
Yeah.
Okay. But see, the thing why I went away from music was because there was so much pressure to perform at such a high level, and it was so isolated. Like the reason why I started doing filmmaking is because it was almost like you could express yourself in a different way, and then I would start entering things into film festivals and doing fairly well and winning awards and stuff. And you realize that filmmaking is more of a collaborative art in a sense. Like you can make your own stuff, but you can also work with other people and be inspired off other people's ideas. And all in all, it's just a great visual medium. So that's what made me like it a lot.
So you did not go to film school?
No, I did not. No, I didn't go to film school.
How do you feel about the kids who, I call them like snobs, or like they went to school and this, versus like there's this kind of like condescending, like, oh, you're like a self-taught, you this and this. So how do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that?
That dynamic of like self-taught and like going to school.
Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of polarizing opinions on film school. A lot of people say it's more for networking. It's more, I'm sure you could learn a lot of stuff. It just depends on what your specialty is in. I'm sure if you did something like cinematography, going to somewhere that actually has a great program to learn about lighting and all the technical stuff.
This is godly lighting.
Well, you see, this is all
It's never going to be on this channel again, unless I collab with them, but yeah.
No, we'll collab more, so that's what I'm saying, you know? So it's a collaborative effort in terms of filmmaking. So somebody can be the best, at making lighting and filming, but might not be the best at telling stories. Or someone might be telling stories, but not have the best production quality. So that's where you join forces and you make something cool, right?
Okay.
It's quite good. It's quite good, actually. When I first met you, Peter, I know we sat down and we were kind of talking about creative stuff. And I think at that point, you were very into the technical intricacies of like tags and numbers and all that type of stuff. Like for me, I didn't really understand that. And that was like an eye-opening process. But like, tell me a little bit about how do you feel about views and numbers and all those type of things?
I would say it's like pretty much like as of late, it's much more, I'm trying to get away from that, where before it's like if you put so much confidence in your numbers, then you're pretty much making films or like videos for an audience that didn't really align with you. So you're putting out like a fake front, so now you're attracting people who are attracted to that fake you. So you can't constantly like portray this character, which is cool for some YouTubers where they put on this character and they're completely different behind the scene. But for me, like especially like making more videos, I want to be like the more real I am here versus so like that's what I'm trying to transition to. So recently, like there's some weird algorithm change going on. YouTube's always changing. So I've like I'm not gonna lie, like I almost cried because like getting 100 views, I'm like, damn, all that like 2 years of like hard work all of a sudden just like disappear because some algorithm changes or like the whole, you haven't been up, but do you know about the demonetization thing that's going on with YouTube recently? Like a lot of channels are getting hit, so then like they're not going through, like their videos aren't getting monetized, like their videos are not getting pushed to their subscribers, so there's like a lower view count. So it's tough, but like the more I do it, I'm starting to realize like why like what we talked about. Like he's a big fan of Simon Sinek, so I'm like, why did I post videos in the first place? Like why did I make videos?
Hey, so like, I'm just gonna interrupt you right there because I think what you're talking about is like if you value everything around your metrics in terms of how many views, how many people come and how many subscribers I have, then eventually what happens when you don't get the views? You start doubting whether or not you're good anymore, and then you're making stuff that you thought that people would like. So why not just start from always making videos that speak to you as a creator? Like I'm making this video because it expresses an idea that I believe in or something that I truly am passionate about. If you just keep doing that, who cares if you get 100 views? This is just my perspective. Like I started vlogging again and there's like, I'm getting like 100 views, like, and I'm happy because I'm like, dude, whatever. I'm just making things, and if there's more than like 2 people watching it, I'm sure at one point you had this too, you're like more than 2 people watching it, that's great. It's just sharing the message. I don't watch a lot of Gary Vee, but I honestly feel like Gary Vee says the exact same thing, which is hustle, 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 hustle. And it's cool if you need to get off your ass and go do something, but you gotta also figure out, what you're doing instead of just hustling for the sake of hustling. So go out there and like apply yourself in the right way to get your things done. I don't know if that was a good soundbite. Probably. Probably.
But to play devil's advocate, you can also do the complete other way, where you gather all the attention, you get the views, you get the money, and then you can drift off and do your own thing. I
agree with that, but I think that you should always start with, well, for me, because I'm going to be honest, like my YouTube channel is not my main source of income. I don't make money off YouTube. I spend a lot of money to make videos, to be honest. A lot of my stuff is a lot of production value. I have a lot of equipment. It's purely for the love and ability to express how I feel about certain things or my brand. So,
like, I just want to interrupt you there. That's like a really good point. Because like when I started, I want to be like the next Peter Chow. I want to be the next Trang man. So for the past 2 years, I put every egg that I had to YouTube. Like I try to make money off it. I try to be famous. And I guess when you try to make money off of something, it takes away that creative aspect, where like
it becomes more like a job, a chore, right? Like you're not really enjoying yourself. You're just worried about whether or not you're going to make enough views so you can get enough money or enough thing to support it full time, right? Which is, I agree with the fact that you need to be able to support your passion, but don't let that money change who you are as a creator, if that makes any sense. Because if you're doing it just for the money, as an artist or as a creative, I respect people who actually just do it unfiltered. They do, this is what I believe in. I don't care whether or not you make money or not. If you agree with it, agree with it. I like authenticity. And I feel a lot of people actually get drawn to the fact that you're speaking your mind rather than like, I know what will make people laugh. And I know there's a format, types of people or 5 things, whatever. Like those videos are like maybe from 2 years ago. You can't just keep making those things without starting to feel repetitive or questioning whether or not you're doing the right thing. Unless you're making a lot of money. I'm sure there's people who make a lot of money, but if you're not making a lot of money, especially if we're passion driven like creatives like us, it's more about finding your voice and being able to express what you believe in. And I think that's something I really feel is important. Everybody has their own path, but at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to chase self-fulfillment. So do what matters to you, to your core values, and do that thing very, very good. And don't let anybody stop you from being the best at that thing. And don't lie to yourself. Don't say that I'm good enough, because you're never good enough. You're never right, and you're always wrong, and you are never finally there. So the day that you're like, I'm the shit, I'm the best, that's the day that you've creatively died. So you just keep hustling, keep pushing forward, but always have honest self-reflection of where you're going and where you've come from. So that's why making a daily vlog or making a channel is good. You get to see what you've done and you kind of improve upon it. Don't just make stuff for making stuff, but make stuff and know where you're going and continue to reflect on if you're doing better or not. That's the most important thing about having a YouTube channel. I think after reading the book from Simon Sinek, I feel like there are people that have the vision. Very often these people just have a feeling for what the direction is supposed to be. And there's also people who are more the how, so they know the more technical things and know all the specifics of business and things like that. It's very important, I think, to fuse people that are purely creative with people that are business oriented, like what you said. For example, Peter, you know a lot more about tags and more of the background things about algorithms and things like that. For me, I don't really think about those things. I'm thinking from purely a creative standpoint. I really don't know anything about those things, to be honest with you. You asked me, hey, so like, how do you get people to watch more stuff? You know, follow trends, whatever. I'm like, no, man, just make videos that are good. And what's deemed as good? It's all subjective, but why don't you do something that you feel is good rather than try to cater to what people say is good? They're like, okay, this prank is gonna be good. You know, just you go out and do just a prank, bro. You know, just go and do a prank, or hey, I'm gonna parody like Frozen this song or whatever. Like, don't do that. Don't just do trends. Go out and do something original and be yourself, and don't be afraid to express yourself. And you know what? Take a lesson from Gary Vee and also Peter. Know the intricacies of the business, because you can't do this unless you're making money from another way. If you want to make this a full-time thing, you got to be able to survive. And whether that is to do something like what I'm doing, which is I'm freelancing and I'm learning and being a filmmaker and getting paid for my skills there, and then transferring it into this creative project, or using this creative project to generate money so you can continue and further your own creative interests. I think that's something that you can, like you said, go from either side, but don't lose sight of that.
What was like you talked with like pretty much some like the original like big Vancouver YouTubers, because so what's your overall thoughts, opinions, experience working with these creators?
So I've worked with some big Vancouver YouTubers, Linda D, Trang Man, Peter Chow. I actually really enjoyed working with Peter Chow because here's the fact is that when you see his character, you think he's like super racially charged, a little bit obnoxious, but then you meet him in person and you're like, wow, he's actually a really nice guy. And when I met him, he was in this period in his life where he was actually transitioning. He was about to take off his glasses. You know, you guys remember how Peter Chow, it used to be really
can't see his
mystery,
eyes.
Can't see his eyes, but you know, his grandma had just died and I was actually working with him on kind of this piece. It was called Who is Peter Chow? And it was more like a manifesto piece. And why I was drawn to it was because I felt that Peter Chow, I watched his videos and I liked his stuff, but I saw that he really wanted to grow as an artist, so I wanted to be there to foster it, being a filmmaker. And then making a video about, you know, dedicating to his grandma and loss, and it was the See You Again music video. That was something that really touched me emotionally as well. And all those things really made me look forward to his new stuff and his new direction. So when you meet somebody that's like that, like they're completely different in person, it's either something that makes or breaks whether or not I'll work with them again. If I work with them, I like them, then I will work with them. Otherwise, like, it'll just be like, oh, I've worked with these people, you know, it's cool. But some people go on to become real big. Some people go on and then they change their paths. There's a lot of different things that can happen, but yeah, like, who's to say, I don't know, who's to say that you won't have like 1 million followers next year, right? So honestly, if you have 1 million, I'd be so happy for you because like you're coming from a very pure place. And when I watch your videos, I see that, and it's good to see another person like actually going for that. Like, don't let other people dictate how your style is going to be. Like, I'm going to do what I do, you do what you do. Let's just keep doing what we do.
You want to explain to them why you have a bike?
Do you want me to explain what? I've got this bike because me and Peter went to shoot a music video, and I was riding it earlier, and I tried to fit the dolly and the bike because we were going to do this interview together. So as you can see, this is not exactly the most ideal production vehicle, but you got to make do with what you got and try not to break anything, which clearly always happens.
What is the Life of Bri now? What's the purpose? Like, if people come to your channel,
yes,
what is it about?
When you come to my channel now, It's a selfish journey of me trying to inspire myself, to inspire other people, and me showing the behind the scenes process of that. And every single episode or video is going to be me trying to improve myself as a creator and trying to show you guys that process of somebody who's trying to make things that matter to himself. So that's gonna be my thing, and just keeping it real and hopefully inspiring people along the way with some of my passions.
Yeah. More than enough.
Man, you're gonna have to edit this. This like I feel sorry for you, dude.
I'm probably gonna. I'm pretty quick. Skim through. Oh, YouTube. Okay, cut. And in point, out point.
That's good.
So that pretty much wraps up the interview. That's what I like about like my channel. It's like I can just pick up the camera and be like, cool.
Yeah,
It's not a podcast anymore. It's a vlog. I better not get copyright for this, bro. Okay, I'm just rambling. I'll see y'all guys in the next one. Deuces.